Hi, this is Al Williams of Sunset Hill Solutions. In this video I'm going to walk you through the auditing functionality in Business Objects 4. Unlike earlier versions of Business Objects, as anyone out there who has installed Business Objects 4 is aware of by now, an auditing universe wasn't supplied with the product. However, the good news is that there is an auditing universe available. So I should point out right now that according to SAP, what they say is that the reports and the universes are not supported by SAP. They are provided as is and for the purposes of being used as a starting point in the process of developing your custom auditing universe and reports. So to download the zip file that contains all of these universes and reports, when I say all these universes, there's universes provided for all the major database platforms like SQL Server, DB2, Oracle, Sybase, etc. So click on View Document, and that's going to download a zip file that contains all the objects required. For the next part of this video, I'll be unzipping the zip file, and I'll be using Information Design Tool to get these universes operational so we can actually start doing some reporting on the auditing functionality available in Business Objects 4. Okay, so let's extract these objects from the location I downloaded the file to. I'm just going to extract them to this folder here. And we can see that there are universes for DB2, HANA, SQL Server, MySQL, etc. and a number of crystal reports that can be used immediately after getting the universe configured and uploaded to your repository. Let's switch over to Information Design Tool. We're going to have to go ahead and create a new project. I'm going to call this project Auditing. Click on Finish. So now we have a blank project called Auditing. Now I want to right click on the project, retrieve a published universe from a local folder, and I want to select the path where this folder is located. And here we go. And I want to select the SQL Server version of the universe because I'm using SQL Server, obviously. And click Finish. One of the things you'll notice when you retrieve a published universe, it creates a folder underneath your project and puts all the objects in there. I like to have all my objects right underneath the project folder so I can go ahead and move them and get rid of this folder. So now I've got my project, I have my business layer, data foundation, and connection. The connection that's part of this project is just a generic connection. We actually have to create a real or a valid connection to our auditing database. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Get new relational connection. So I'm going to call this CN Auditing, and for description, connection to the auditing database. Click on Next. I'm going to select the database platform, which in this case is SQL Server 2008. Click on Next. Fill in the appropriate credentials for your auditing database and click on Test Connection. So this was successful. I'll click on Finish. So now in our auditing project we have the connection we just created and the one that shipped with the project. We want to change the data foundation to use this new connection. Okay, I didn't mean to click that button. I just want to change this. So change, and we'll use the auditing connection. Save the data foundation. We can go ahead and delete the connection that shipped with the universe. So now I want to publish this new connection to the repository, and we need to do that because this will make it a secure connection. That way we can publish the business layer. So I'll go ahead and publish it. It was published successfully. It's created a shortcut to that connection in the repository. Here I'm going to change the data foundation now to point to the shortcut and get rid of the local connection because we don't need it anymore. Now that we've got a connection to the audit database in the repository, we have a shortcut in our project, and we've changed our data foundation to use this new connection. We can go ahead and publish the business layer. And I'll click on finish. I actually just published it a minute ago to make sure it would work, so it's just asking if it wants to overwrite, so I'll say yes. And it was published successfully, so I will finish this. Before we go any further, I just noticed something that we should fix right now. I went ahead and tried to create a test report using Web Intelligence, and through an error, when I had a look at the SQL that was generated, I noticed that it added an object qualifier to the table names. And if I have a look at my audit database, you'll see there are no object qualifiers for these tables. So we have to go ahead and fix that in Information Design Tool. And the way to make that change in the Information Design Tool, you have to open up the data foundation, which we have opened right here. And if you right click on the table header, and you'll see an option change qualifier / owner. Now I've already gone ahead and removed the qualifier, so that's what you're going to have to do. If you don't have a qualifier for your tables, just go ahead and remove it and click OK. And you'll have to do that for all of the physical tables in this data foundation. Some of the tables in this, or some of the objects in this data foundation, if you right click on them, you don't see that option to change the qualifier, and that's because it's a view or drive table. But you will have to go ahead and do that before you go any further with this. Alright, so now that we've done all the work required to publish this Auditing Universe to our repository, we can switch over to the CMC and we can start looking at some of the options available in auditing. The first thing we'll look at on the auditing screen here is the configuration. So this is typically set up when you install Business Objects 4. You don't have to specify the audit database during installation, but most companies do. If you don't, you can configure the auditing database afterwards, and this is where you would do it. You'd specify the connection name. So this BO4 audit name is actually a system DSN that was created on this machine to my SQL Server 2008 R2 instance to the BO4 audit database. And the authentication information is entered, and you can go ahead and this will create your audit. This will allow you to start auditing in Business Objects 4 once this is configured. Next, we'll have a look at the events that are captured when auditing is turned on. And by default, the default option up here is selected. And if we scroll down, we can see all the common events that are included in the default audit profile. You do have the option to change these. You can go to minimal, and that's going to just record very little information like log in and log out, very little else. So typically you're going to want to go with default or complete. Complete includes auditing all the lifecycle manager events, all the analysis events, and all of the platform events. It does include absolutely everything that's done within the application. So it all depends on the preference that your company has for the scope of the auditing that's required in Business Objects 4. I'm going to go ahead and leave this as default because I want to just keep track of all the reports that have been opened, when they've been opened, who's run them, who's deleted them, who's modified them, etc. So this will be more than sufficient for my needs. Okay, so let's have another look at that zip file I downloaded from the SAP website. So in the file we have the universes for the different platforms, DB2, HANA, SQL Server, etc. There's a folder called Reports, and if you click on any of these subfolders, you'll see a list of Crystal reports. Now the good news is they have supplied a number of reports. The bad news is, at least as far as I can tell, you can only use these reports if you have Crystal Reports for Enterprise. So remember that the universes supplied by SAP are in the new format, the UNX format, which means that they're built using Information Design Tool. If we have a look at Crystal Reports, this is Crystal Reports 2011, and I've opened one of the audit reports supplied by SAP. I'm able to open the report in Crystal Reports 2011, but I cannot set the data source location to a UNX file. So what I mean by that is that if I try and create a new connection to a universe, I'm already logged into this repository. It's only showing me the eFashion universes, which are the old format of universes from Business Objects 3 and prior to that. So unless there's a way around this, and I really don't think there is, if you don't have Crystal Reports for Enterprise, you will not be able to use the universes supplied by SAP, or sorry, the reports supplied by SAP for this sample audit universe. You can, however, open them and you can see which objects are used in the report and try and recreate them in Web Intelligence. So since I don't have the correct version of Crystal Reports installed, I can't use the reports supplied by SAP, but I can go ahead and create brand new reports based on the sample universe they provided for auditing. So I go into Web Intelligence and create a new report. If I click on the new icon here and select the universe, so let's select the auditing universe, that's this one right here, and select. So now we have the query panel for the audit universe. I'm going to drag a few events, or I'm going to create a report that's showing user logins per month. So I'm going to bring in username into the result objects, and I'm going to bring in some date objects, the event year and event month number. And then I want to bring in a measure, which will be the total event count. At this point I want to add some filters. So I want to say that the client application type is equal to, and I'll pick values from list here. And what I want to select for the client application type is BI Launchpad, and click OK. Next I want to add a filter on the event type, and I want this to be equal to, and for this we will pick logon. Okay, and then finally I want these to be successful logins, so I'll select event status equal to, and in this case we're going to say successful. Click OK. Now we're ready to run the query, so I'll click on the Run Query button up here. This shouldn't take too long to refresh. One thing you'll notice, by default it's always going to prompt you for the language here. I'm not sure if there's a way to get around this, because if you recall, when I built the report there weren't any prompts. So our language is English, so I'm going to just keep that. Click OK. And looks like the report is loading. Yeah, and the report did run successfully. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some formatting and insert some breaks here so we can get some meaningful results. So we have the results back. Let's do some basic formatting. Let's first do some sorting here. I'll click on the Analysis tab, click on the username field, and we'll do a sort on that to begin with. Then we'll do it by year and by month. Same thing. Next thing I want to do is create a break by the username. So just click on the username field and drag it up here to create a break. The next thing I want to do is have a subtotal by user. If I click on the event count, and then I want to do a, where do I want to go here? Oh yes, the functions. I want to add a sum here. So now it gives me total logins for each of the users. Now I can change some of these fields. Let's change that to total. I can just change this to say year. And I'm just double clicking on these fields, by the way, in case you couldn't see. Change this to month. And we'll change the total column just to say logins. Alright, so that's a real basic report using the Audit Universe. We brought in the username, the year and the month, and the total event count, and we sorted, we filtered the report based on the client application type to be BI Launchpad, the event type to be a login, and the event status to be successful. So there's a lot more you can do with the universe that's been supplied by SAP, but this is just a very basic example to get you started. Okay, this has been Al Williams from Sunset Hill Solutions. I hope if you're going to implement auditing and Business Objects 4 that this video will help you get started and will give you hopefully a few helpful tips. Thanks for watching.